House Republicans grilled FBI Director Christopher Wray over concerns that top officials in his agency may be tainted by their political bias.
He kicked everybody off Mueller's team who was anti-Trump. I don't think there'd be anybody left.
A top Justice Department official is demoted for meeting with people behind the Trump dossier.
This is a scam. And if this is allowed to proceed, Americans' faith in the constitutional republic is going to be shaken, I promise you.
The man who was accused of multiple groping will resign, but no apologies, no admission of guilt, just accusations.
Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Others I remember very differently.
I think we all hope a deal can be reached. We hope that the Democrats will be willing to put aside partisan politics and focus on fully funding the government.
We hope that we're going to make some great progress for our country. I think that will happen.
We shall always remember how they died for liberty. Just remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory.
Yeah.
What can I say? Well, that was good. He's a very shy person, too.
It's who?
The Who.
Is that the Who? That is the Who. Come on.
I don't know the Who.
Welcome. Oh, man, these kids.
You've heard of The Who.
I've heard of the Who.
Okay.
I like the music.
You just didn't follow them.
No, didn't follow them.
Yeah. Hello.
It's Friday.
It is, and Pete is in for Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Brian's on book signing tour.
He is.
You're
We're selling
in.
books, and I'm just filling in.
But you were up late last night. You were helping Ollie North out down in Washington,
The Freedom
D.C.
Alliance has their annual dinner down in Washington, D.C. I was honored to MC it. Was down there with Oliver North. I think we'll have some pictures later on in the show.
You did that, and then you came back here
And then I
last
jumped
night?
in a car and rode all the way down here, and now I'm here. So I'm tired, but I'm awake and excited to be with all you guys.
Well, that's something that you couldn't miss.
It was neat. Incredible heroes. And the Freedom Alliance does amazing things, giving scholarships to the kids of those killed on the battlefield, much like
Did they do that on Pearl Harbor Day on purpose?
It happens. It's usually around the Army-Navy game, which is happening on Saturday. They also have the Army-Navy game. Yeah,
that's right. All right. Thanks for joining us. Once again, it's another busy news day. If you were watching the channel yesterday, you saw the new FBI director. He was grilled by Republicans up on Capitol Hill just over the appearance that some in the FBI may have a political bias. And then there's the news that apparently an assistant deputy attorney general, a man by the name of Bruce Orr, has been removed from his job because apparently he had undisclosed contact with the firm that did the dossier, that Fusion GPS, along with Chris Steele and the founder as well.
The question is, why did Devin Nunes, why did he have to subpoena him to get information? The DOJ refuses to hand over any information about what happened.
That's right. I mean, so 10 months ago, we learned that the former British spy, Christopher Steele, had taken that Hillary Clinton campaign-funded dossier to the FBI. What we're learning now is that congressional investigators, it's sort of an even more consequential discovery, what you said, that the knowledge of that dossier project goes all the way to the top levels of DOJ, including this career DOJ guy, Bruce Orr, who works right underneath Sally Yates, a name you might know. So all the dots are starting to connect as the House Republicans are pulling information out of these.
And this Orr guy apparently had multiple contacts with Fusion GPS, who led to that dirty dossier, and he had contacts with Christopher Steele, who was that agent, that spy over in the UK, who was hired to go pay Russia to get information for that dirty dossier.
Right, and Glenn Simpson, the guy who runs Fusion GPS. So it just looks so cozy. And then if you were watching the grilling yesterday, and Chris Wray really did do a good job, but it was interesting the way Jim Jordan of Ohio, who was on this program yesterday, he was trying to say, hey, look, we just heard about this Peter Strzok guy who exchanged 10,000 email with his girlfriend. He was anti-Trump, pro-Hillary. Why did he get removed from the probe? Because he said everybody on that probing team is anti-Trump. There must be something else. And it gets down to the dossier. Did somebody at the FBI take the dossier and go to a FISA court and say, look at this, it's time to spy on the Trumps?
That's the question, because it's one thing to review the dossier. Listen, if you get information, you take a look at it. It's another thing to use it as a justification to then surveil Americans.
So let me break this down for you. What they're wondering is, Hillary Clinton gives money to this law firm. The law firm then hires Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS then hires this spy, Christopher Steele. Then he goes over to Russia and does some sort of a deal and pays Russia for this dirty dossier. Did that lead to spying on or surveilling President Trump while he was running against Hillary Clinton? And does that go back to Hillary Clinton? This is crazy. This is crazy, and that was the question. Listen to Jim Jordan yesterday.
Director, did Peter Strzok help produce and present the application to the FISA court to secure a warrant to spy on Americans associated with the Trump campaign?
Congressman, I'm not prepared to discuss anything about a FISA process in this setting.
Not of Peter Strzok. Was he involved in taking that to the court?
I'm not going to discuss in this setting anything to do with the FISA court applications.
It's been reported that this dossier was all dressed up by the FBI, taken to the FISA court, and presented as a legitimate intelligence document, that it became the basis for granting a warrant to spy on Americans. And I'm wondering if that actually took place. It sure looks like it did.
It sure looks like it did, and it's simply the appearance of bias, not rank and file FBI, but at the very top, the people who are handling all of these sensitive investigations. It looks like they had their thumb on the scale of justice, tipping it toward Hillary and away from
That's
Donald
an important differentiation. Not your rank and file FBI agent. No. We're talking about, because we've heard about, we're doing a special investigation. Just a small group of people at headquarters are looking into Hillary Clinton's, private server and email scandal. When you keep that closed circle, it's not that far to think, well, is that closed circle also weaponizing this intelligence, potentially going to FISA courts to surveil? I mean, when President Trump said they've wiretapped Trump Tower and he got derided for it, it turns out all of this information is pointing to the fact that it was. And it was our own intelligence agencies, unfortunately, at some levels, that may have been a part of it. And I think it comes down to the fact that Hillary Clinton was supposed to win. She was supposed to win, and none of this was ever supposed to be exposed, and they were all going to keep their positions, and everyone was going to look buttoned up, and now it's all falling apart.
Well, I would like to believe that the FBI, yes, they can have their political beliefs. We all have our political beliefs. I would like to believe that they can be objective without their political beliefs entering into these investigations. The question is, did that happen? So we just want to know. We want to find out all the information, but we can't because the DOJ won't give us information on these people, so now that's why Devin Nunes and other House Republicans have to get answers by subpoenas.
That's right. And by the way, Devin Nunes, yesterday it was announced, he's no longer under investigation. He did not mishandle classified information, so he is running that department once again. Meanwhile, here's Molly Hemingway, and she boils it down quite concisely why the dossier, if it led to spying, is such a problem.
The question is whether the actual special counsel investigation itself was not compromised by its involvement with this dossier. And I think the American people deserve to know whether it was. And most importantly, I think they deserve to know whether that wiretap application was in any way related to the dossier. And if it was, whoo boy, that's a scandal.
Yeah, do we have an entire special counsel premised on a dossier that was never true to begin with and part of a conspiracy to build a case against President Trump? That's the investigation of the investigation that many are calling for.
And how are you going to get that information? If it's true, if these Republicans yesterday are saying everyone, it seems, at the FBI that was involved in this investigation, if we removed everyone who was a Hillary supporter, there'd be no one left. How are you going to get this information?
And as it turns out, there's another name. A woman by the name of Jeanine is part of Mueller's team. She previously worked on the Clinton Foundation. So obviously he's going to be fair and balanced too. All right. Okay. Look, this whole investigation is going downhill. Just like American skier Lindsey Vonn, she would like to win another gold medal at the Winter Olympics in South Korea coming up.
That's right.
But here's the problem. If she wins, she's not going to the White House.
She's already said that.
She said she does not like Donald Trump.
Listen to what she said yesterday.
I hope to represent the people of the United States, not the president. I want to represent our country well, and I don't think there are a lot of people currently in our government that do that.
All right, she's just another celebrity, another Hollywood person who doesn't agree with the president.
The resistance
continues. Do you think he cares?
You know, the last part of her statement was true. There are not a lot of people in government representing us well. Maybe she watched the first 8 minutes of our program and saw that that's true. And not a lot of it has to do with President Trump.
You know what's interesting is you think about it, her ex is Tiger Woods, who played golf with President Trump, what, a week ago?
Maybe that's why they broke up.
Anyway. Tiger Woods, no problem, apparently, playing golf with the president. But if she wins, she's not going to the White House.
Yeah, think about that. You got athletes preemptively declaring their resistance to a president as they get the honor. Think about the honor of going to the Olympics and representing, wearing the flag. It's like wearing the flag in combat, in battle. Yeah. It's a team.
Proud to.
You're saying, well, no, it's just we're going to write off our president.
Very un-American. No. All right, let's hand it over to Jill. You know, have some headlines for us. Happy Friday.
Friday morning to you guys, to you at home as well. Let's begin with your headlines right now and start with this. A student unleashes a deadly attack at a school, leaving 2 people dead. Panicked students and staff hiding inside classrooms as the gunman opened fire at Aztec High School in New Mexico. The gunman shot to death, but it's unclear at this point if he took his own life. Hundreds paying respects at a candlelight vigil last night to remember the victims, a cheerleading captain and football player. The motive behind the shooting remains unknown. Planned Parenthood under investigation by the Department of Justice over the sale of fetal tissue. The DOJ requesting unredacted documents from the Senate Judiciary Committee probe last year into claims the organization profited off the transfer of tissue and body parts from aborted fetuses to research firms. Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley says they have enough evidence that shows how abortion providers transfer fetal tissue and body parts by overcharging. Republican Congressman Trent Franks announcing his resignation. Now, this comes following complaints from 2 of his staff members with whom he discussed becoming a surrogate for him and his wife. This happening shortly after an unapologetic Al Franken announced his plans to resign from the Senate after mounting sexual misconduct allegations. Senior Senator from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar, saying Franken made the right decision but thought the speech was short. An impromptu performance fit for a president. The touching moment, a World War II veteran breaks out into song as the president honors survivors of the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Just remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory. Yeah.
Navy veteran Mickey Ganatich sang the traditional song after Trump said the signature battle cry. President Trump went on to sign a presidential proclamation for National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, honoring the more than 2,300 heroes who lost their lives. That's a look at your headlines. I'll send it back to you guys.
How precious
that was
is
great.
He singing.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Sing for the president?
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
Thank you very much, Jillian. All right, coming up on this Friday, the economy is surging under President Trump, but President Obama is taking the credit.
We saw the longest streak of job creation in American history by far. A streak that still continues, by the way. Thanks, Obama.
So who deserves the credit, President Obama or President Trump? We're going to break it down with The Economist coming up next.
And a bro is upset his city is cracking down on house parties, so he decided to do something about it.
What's up, Council? My name is Chad Kroger. I'm an activist and house party enthusiast. I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
Under President Trump, the U.S. economy continues to surge. Last month alone saw 40,000 new manufacturing jobs. Big number. And that's just one example. But a familiar face is trying to steal President Trump's credit.
As we took these actions, we saw the U.S. economy grow consistently. We saw the longest streak of job creation in American history by far. A streak that still continues, by the way. Thanks, Obama.
It's a good line. Thanks, Obama. But shouldn't we be thanking President Trump? Here to break it down is economist and University of Maryland professor Peter Morici. Professor, thanks for joining us this morning. So you're going to see 2 sides of this argument. Of course, President Obama is going to try to say, I built the ramp for this. This is my surge in the economy. President Trump saying, no, I unleashed the market through deregulation and the promise of tax reform. Who's right?
President Trump. You know, President Obama reads from a very simple textbook of democratic economics. All the problems in the world are caused by Republicans, and when the Republicans are in, they cause nothing but problems. In his administration, whenever something went wrong, he blamed the legacy of George Bush. And now with Donald Trump is accomplishing something that President Trump just couldn't do. We're going to have 3 consecutive quarters of 3% growth. We haven't seen that since 2004. During the Obama period, they created jobs for sure, but it was a very slow pace, about half the pace as during the Reagan years, which, by the way, was when we last cut taxes and deregulated.
Absolutely. Well, Professor, we've got some of those stats that you talked about. We'll put them up on the screen. Almost a 30% increase in stock market value. As you mentioned, over 3% GDP growth in the last 2 quarters. Unemployment rate down to 4.1%, which is a 17-year low. So a thought exercise here is, would these things be happening if it was President Hillary Clinton right now? She would have continued the policies of her predecessor, Barack Obama. Instead, we have President Trump. So would we be seeing this growth with a different president?
Absolutely not. The whole mantra of the Obama-Clinton presidency and legacy is the notion that we live in an age of limits, that the economy can't grow, that the wealthy are stealing it all, and we have to redivide a limited pie. Whereas the whole notion behind Trumponomics is let's make the pie bigger, let's create more opportunities, let's give everybody a ladder up. I like that optimism, and it's catching on in business. It wouldn't be here without President Trump. Simply, America is open for business again. The government is no longer hostile. I mean, at the rate we were going with Barack Obama, before you know it, it would be about as exciting here as North Korea.
Quick final thought here. We only have a moment. 3% growth is where we're at. Where do you see us growing to? Is it 4, 5, 6? Some have said 6%. What do you think?
Well, no, we're not going to grow at 6%. 4% growth is possible during most quarters if we get some more initiatives beyond the tax cuts. We're going to have an infrastructure program. We're going to have meaningful immigration reform. And we're going to have some reforms in how we spend the money that we have. We're spending far too much on entitlements, which is discouraging people from working. We need to find ways to enable people to get back out into the labor force. If we do those things, and they're on the list, if we work down the list, I'd like to know, what are the Democrats going to do when all this growth kicks in? And what are they going to do come May when people have more money in their paycheck and the economy's growing?
It's true, Professor.
Do they get on the wagon and help us get there?
That becomes a tough campaign sell when the economy's growing. Thanks for joining us, Professor. More Fox and Friends on the other side.
We are back now with a Fox News alert. The governor of California turning to President Trump for help as all those wildfires are still just destroying parts of California.
Unbelievable images. More than 400 structures destroyed in Ventura County alone. And fire crews now warn the fires could last for weeks.
Weeks through Christmas. Will Carr live in Ventura, California, where the evacuation zone just widened. Will?
Good morning, guys, and this is setting up for another dangerous day on the ground here. As you can see, flames once again racing down towards this community, and we've been on the front lines. Take a look at what we've been seeing. These flames have raced down this hillside in just the past couple of minutes. They're being fanned by the fierce winds we've had throughout the course of the day, and you can see that they are eating everything in their path. Now, the reason this is such a concern is because on this side of the Pacific Coast Highway, you have a number of beach homes. You can see just how close all of these flames are. There are firefighters on the other side spraying these down, trying to do everything that they can to protect this community. And those fire crews are working day and night to try to get some up their containment numbers for the 6 fires burning across Southern California. 23,000 homes are being threatened. 190,000 residents are evacuated. We spoke with one yesterday. Take a listen.
We're very, very grateful for the fire department and all the fire departments from up and down the state and out of state. They're all here helping us. But we never...
And check out this dramatic video of ranchers trying to get their horses to safety yesterday as the flames broke out once again. It can be quite dangerous. We'll see what today holds, guys.
All right. Will Carr in Ventura, California with the very latest. Will, thank you very much.
Wow, it's hard to watch, those horses.
Just over his shoulder. All right. Moving on to something a little different.
Yeah, all right. It is the holiday season, and it's a holiday tradition. Wreaths across America They lay more than 240,000 wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes at Arlington National Cemetery.
But this year, they're in jeopardy of not having enough wreaths. Bree Kingsbury is the Corporate Development and Community Relations Director for Wreaths Across America, and she joins us this morning from Washington, D.C. Bree, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I love this cause, the idea that no gravestone goes uncovered by a wreath, recognizing the significance of the Christmas season, but also of the sacrifice that all these men and women have given. Talk to us about your effort and where you're a little short.
Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. We do currently have a shortfall. Your viewers have been so fantastic that I keep checking our numbers this morning. They're already starting to come down, but we do still currently have a shortfall of wreaths of 31,500. So our deadline is December the 14th, so it's coming up quick. But we know that your viewers are, so patriotic, and you've helped us out before. So, we would respectfully like to ask for their consideration again this year. They're $15 each, and they can purchase the wreaths on wreathsacrossamerica.org.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we crash your website every year because our viewers are the best. They're amazing.
So they really are.
Bree, why do you do this every year?
Well, I was part of the Navy SEAL community for 12 years, and when my friends and family and I walk the rows of Arlington National Cemetery, we look down at the gravestones, and, they're not, faceless names to us. These are our friends. We have over 30 friends buried at Section 60 alone at Arlington National Cemetery. So, when we walk those rows, we have a lot of memories that come to mind, birthday parties, births of children, weddings. Just last year, there was a little boy who came up to me, and I'm trying not to do the ugly cry on TV because nobody wants to see that, but a cute, precious little boy came up to me last year, and he said, Bree, I just wish that my daddy could come home just for Christmas. And, so that really, to us, that is what it's all about. It is about supporting our Gold Star families and making sure that their loved ones, that their legacy is not forgotten, and that the families they left behind is not forgotten.
Surely. Well, it has been our honor to televise, your event where you try to put them all on graves at Arlington on one day. But it's not just Arlington. I understand, as is the case in past years, you do attend to graves in something like 1,200 cemeteries across America, and you also need volunteers, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually up closer to 1,300 locations throughout the country now. And so we will be placing the wreaths next Saturday on December the 16th. So if anyone would like to join us at Arlington or at any of the other participating locations, they can just go to our website at wreathsacrossamerica.org and look at the location near them. And it's a family event. It's a free event. It's a wonderful way to come out and honor and celebrate the legacy and the sacrifice and service of our fallen service
That's right,
members.
and what a great way to teach your kids to both understand Christmas but also love their country. Just think of a gravestone not being covered as you think about whether or not to donate today.
Exactly.
It's only
well, and at Arlington specifically, there's people that are buried there from all 50 states, and because this is such an active cemetery, there's 25 funerals every day, and there's some older folks that have been that are buried there, or many of course, and sometimes throughout the years, our volunteers might be the only people that visit that grave for the entire year.
And you say their names when you put the wreath in front of their tombstone. Thank you, Bree, for being with us, and thank you. God bless you.
Thanks, Bree.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Once again, wreathsacrossamerica.org.
Amazing.
I just looked at their website. It's really simple. If you look on the smartphone, it's either donate or volunteer.
Well, you hear stories like Lindsey Vonn, who wants to be in the Olympics and doesn't want to support our president. And then you hear stories like Bree, who is doing this, $15 per wreath. There are good people in this world, and she loves our veterans.
I get chills, you just saying that. I mean, only in America, a place that appreciates. We leave no one behind, and we remember them.
They need 31,000 more wreaths to be bought. Let's see if we can do that by the end of today's telecast.
We can do that.
All right.
We're all committed, so I hope you are too. Well, remember the basketball dad who refused to thank President Trump for getting his son out of jail in China? Well, he's throwing jabs once again. The video you have to see.
Yeah. Wonderful. And don't you dare call a millennial a snowflake. Apparently it makes them feel so bad that it's hurting their mental health.
Oh boy.
Snowflaking snowflakes. Lawrence Jones joins us with what he thinks.
What up, Council? My name is Chad Kroger. I'm an activist and house party enthusiast. I am here determined to stop this future atrocity. My first introduction to manhood came when the captain of my water polo team, Boomer Kingsley, asked me to shotgun a tall can of Bud Light in front of the whole squad at his end of the season bash. His parents were in Tahoe at the time, so we tore that weekend up. It was epic, and I was super stoked.
Okay, he's pulling your leg right now. It's
I don't know
your
if he
shot of the
is.
morning. Young man not happy with the city of Los Angeles cracking down on house parties.
Steve, he's a house party enthusiast.
Yes.
You heard it. So he marched down to City Hall, give him credit, to fight for the right to party.
But Chad Kruger's plea was quickly cut off.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chad.
Not going to happen.
He's a future politician, though.
He and a friend, both comedians, appeared in front of the town council. That's why they did that. Hey, look who's here. Lawrence Jones.
In studio with you guys.
Yeah, welcome. Good to have you here, not Dallas. What do you make of, we did a story a couple of days ago, and that story kind of reminds us of this, that there's a British insurance company did a survey, and they have discovered that the millennials feel that when you call them a snowflake, it damages their mental health.
I'm not surprised at all. This is a generation where they've been taught that you can change your sex if you want to. You can change your race if you want to. If you say anything that offends them, they're trying to make it where it's a crime. So this is what progressives want. This is what liberal mentalities on these college campuses and in these elementary schools are doing to our kids. And if we don't stand up to it, we're going to create a generation of wussies. I'm sorry.
Doesn't this just prove that they are snowflakes?
Yes, yes. I mean, they couldn't survive my household. I know my parents said a lot of things that hurt our feelings, but you know what? They got results. My mom used to always say that they had tough strategies, but they got results out of us. And so, I mean, they would come at us, but they expected excellence. And this generation, they're not used to that.
When you say you got to fight back, what do you mean?
Well, you know, I've always said this, that parents need to be cautious of where they're sending their kids to school. You're essentially funding a progressive ideology on these college campuses.
Your kids aren't going to Berkeley.
No, they won't. You know, honestly, I want them to go to a university where I feel like there's diversity of thought. That means it doesn't have to be all Republican or conservative values, but there needs to be a diversity there where they learn both sides. But it's important that parents also establish that strong foundation at the house, so when they do go to those campuses, they're ready to defend themselves. That's part of the reason why when I went to college, my parents had that foundation already of God, country, and personal responsibility, that I was ready for those professors when they said all that nonsense.
You wonder if that generation of snowflakes would be willing to pick up a rifle if they had to. It's a scary thought.
Well, they're probably scared of it.
Exactly. It's a scary thought. You ultimately could have to defend your country. Sorry, you're right. And Play-Doh.
Or it shoots itself, you know how they go.
Second topic we got to bring up with you. Congressman John Lewis has continued his feud with the president. They're opening up in Mississippi the Civil Rights Museum, which is a great thing. But the President Trump will be attending, therefore John Lewis says he will not. How is that productive?
Yeah, I used to have a lot of respect for John Lewis. He was a civil rights icon, but he's become so divisive, and I think that's part of him becoming a politician now. He goes along with the party. Look, you know, you can love or hate Donald Trump, but you can't deny the fact black unemployment is at a 20-year low. Under President Obama, it was double the national average. Black businesses are soaring right now. Food stamps for black folks are decreasing. And so what I see is a president that's actually trying to do something for all people, but the media doesn't cover that, which is why I've consistently said the president has to go on the road and talk about these accomplishments.
He's trying.
No one else will talk about it if he doesn't.
Exactly, but you know, there's all these middlemen between the president when it comes to messaging, and me and Ivanka had a long conversation about this about a couple of weeks ago. The president is his best messenger, and if the community sees the president on the road saying, look, this is what I did. Obama can't do that. I mean, black unemployment, double the national average under President Obama. Right now, a 20-year low. The media doesn't cover that. That's something that the community should know.
All right, that guy right there is going to be on Outnumbered today at noon in this studio.
Oh, man, there's four ladies.
I know.
Good luck. You know, I'm just going to be humble with them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you. Great to see you. All right, Jillian's over there behind you, Lawrence. She has some headlines for us.
Good morning. Good morning to you at home. Let's begin with this headline. An accused serial killer is indicted by a grand jury with 4 counts of premeditated murder. Howell Donaldson III is accused of shooting and killing 4 people over 6 weeks in Tampa, Florida. prosecutors have not yet announced whether they will seek the death penalty. A judge now ordering his parents to show why they shouldn't be held in contempt of court for refusing to testify against their son and possibly provide critical information. Hundreds of angry activists taking to the streets of New York City protesting federal ICE agents who try to enforce the law. Demonstrators calling on officials to ban ICE agents from all state courthouses. The demand comes after ICE arrested a domestic violence suspect waiting for his hearing. Outspoken basketball dad LeVar Ball taking another swipe at President Trump. Ball tweeting this, an animation of him dunking on the commander-in-chief. Last month, Ball refused to thank the president for freeing his son and 2 UCLA basketball players from China after an alleged shoplifting incident. There you can see the graphics that he tweeted. Meantime, Ball has pulled his son from UCLA. He says he and his younger son will now play overseas. So look at your headlines. I always wonder what the sons think about this. You know, like, Dad, let me play. Dad, I don't know.
Dad, do I get to make a decision?
Right. And when they came back, those 3 individuals that played for UCLA, they said, we are so grateful for the president. Yeah. And then his dad comes out.
He didn't like it.
No, he didn't like it. And then pulled him out.
All right, Jillian.
Thanks, Jillian.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A lot of politics in sports.
Right.
Why? Can we just
holy cow?
Just play the ball in the hoop? Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to another story. The director of the FBI grilled on Capitol Hill over the integrity of his agency. So, is a bigger shakeup needed? Congressman Darrell Issa was in that hearing, and he weighs in coming up.
And he's leaving the Senate. Jeff Flake bowing out, and the man to replace him could be America's toughest sheriff. That guy.